Please raise your hand if you are 15 years old or know somebody who is 15 years old.
Please raise your hand if you like to play basketball.
Please raise your hand if you live within 5 miles of this school.
Maria is 15 years old.
Maria loves to play basketball, and she lives right here in New York City, just 5 miles from where we're standing.
She came to the United States when she was 2 years old and is undocumented. Maria lives with her mother, who is struggling to make ends meet with 4 kids in the apartment.
One day after school, Maria meets a 22-year-old man. He tells her that she's beautiful. He buys her gifts, he takes her out, and Maria believes that she's in love. A few weeks into the relationship, he cries broke and asks her to have sex with a few of his friends just this one time for money. And she does it because she loves him.
The next day, he tells her that he's inviting more friends over. She says that she won't do it again. He beats her badly and threatens to kill her and her little sister.
He pimps Maria out every single night to numerous men. Maria is scared. She fears for her own life and the life of her little sister. She feels absolutely helpless.
Maria is the age of most of the kids in this room today.
Maria is no different than any of us.
After 14 months of being coerced, beaten, raped, and trafficked by her pimp, Maria gets arrested at age 16 for prostitution.
This is how Maria met the Girls' Education and Mentoring Services, also known as GEMS. A victim of sex trafficking is someone who is forced into the commercial sex industry against his or her will. Some people are misled by the word trafficking and think that it has to include cross-border movement or that it only takes place in developing countries. This is incorrect. Sex trafficking happens in every country, in every city. It's happening right here in New York City. It happens down the street from here. It happens in Brooklyn. It's happening all around us.
Approximately 5,000 to 10,000 girls are sex trafficked in New York City each year. Most of the women and girls that GEMS sees are minorities and live in poverty. Some of them have endured gender-based violence or have witnessed abuse at their homes. Some are runaways and some are living in homeless shelters. The average age of a girl who is sex trafficked is 14 to 16 years old. 70% of girls who are sex trafficked are in the welfare system, and 10% of them are undocumented immigrants.
The trafficker, also known as the pimp, can introduce the topic in many different ways. Sometimes he just gets her drunk, asks her to just do it this one time, beats her into total submission, or spins the promise of a better life or future for this girl. Every single one of these pimps uses violence, fear, threats, and intimidation to get these girls into the commercial sex industry, and to also make sure that they do not leave. As Rachel Lloyd, the founder of GEMS, says, it is so easy to get these girls into the commercial sex industry, but getting them out, well, that's hard as hell.
GEMS was founded in 1998 by Rachel Lloyd, who is a survivor of the commercial sex industry. GEMS' mission is to empower girls and young women ages 12 to 24 who have experienced commercial sexual exploitation to help them develop to their full potential.
GEMS provides a service called Alternative to Incarceration. So prior to the Safe Harbor Act of 2008, a girl under the age of 18 who was arrested for prostitution-related crimes was charged and sent to prison. GEMS was very influential in getting the Safe Harbor Act passed. And now most girls under the age of 18 that GEMS sees are referred to them by the courts. This is so important for these girls because first, they will not have a record, and also they could receive help from GEMS. This is especially important for undocumented immigrants because they are more likely to get deported if they have a record. For women over the age of 18, they're given the choice between GEMS and jail time. And this is how most women and girls meet GEMS for the first time. So it is so difficult for a victim of sex trafficking to leave their trafficker. These girls are constantly being beaten, threatened, and reminded they are nothing but a body to be bought and sold. What GEMS does is they remind these victims of trafficking that they are strong, they are beautiful, and they are resilient, and they are worthy of love and respect. From there, these victims of trafficking are able to transform themselves from victims into survivors. When the girls go to GEMS, they are given kindness, support, and a community. They're able to take showers, they're able to sleep, and they're given counseling. GEMS also helps them with medical support and childcare. GEMS hopes by giving them enough love and support, they could realize they have hope, because they have people and a place to depend on.
Leaving your trafficker is extremely life-threatening. In order for the girls to feel safer leaving their pimps, GEMS gives them a place to live so their pimps can't find them. Currently, they have 3 locations for housing. One is in the Bronx and has 9 bedrooms. And there are 2 Harlem apartments where women and girls can live with their children.
From there, they help these women get jobs and also support them through their education process. Some of these girls go back to high school and get their GEDs. They go to college, and they even go to graduate school. So GEMS actually just started a new education initiative, which is a partnership with other organizations in the city, which makes it easier for girls and women to get jobs and internships. And this has been helping them tremendously.
GEMS also does prevention and outreach initiatives, which focus on educating youth about the risks and causes of the commercial sex industry. They also do legal advocacy. GEMS provides legal advocacy for young women and girls arrested for prostitution-related crimes. GEMS also does training for police officers, social workers, psychologists, and volunteers to help them understand sexual exploitation.
So GEMS sees around 450 girls a year, and out of those 450 girls, they're able to get approximately 70% out of the commercial sex industry. This year, they have 35 members going to college. They have 47 members in high school or getting their GEDs. They have 3 members in graduate school, including 2 in medical school, and they also have 17 members in vocational school. So this is a screenshot from a website called Backpage. So Backpage was one of the most popular websites to sell women and girls in New York City. So as you can see, it says that these girls are 21, 20, and 23. There was actually an investigation done on the girls listed above, and it was found that most of them were being sex trafficked, and most of them were underaged. Because of the advocacy work of GEMS and other organizations, as of 2 weeks ago, Backpage was shut down.
They are also advocating and supporting for the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, which would allow a victim to sue websites like Backpage, which enabled their abuse. GEMS has 2 offices in Harlem. Both are hidden and unmarked. They keep the location a secret so the girls will feel safe and so the pimps can't find them. We weren't able to visit the housing for the girls because no one except the staff is allowed to know for their privacy. We toured their office and met many people who work there. The office was filled with donated supplies from power bars to used women's suits, all waiting to be distributed to the girls. We also saw a wall of degrees for those who graduated the program.
As we were walking out of the GEMS office, we saw one of their young members walk in. This girl must have been around 13 or 14 years old. This was so shocking for me because I had just sat in a room for 2 hours and heard about everything these girls endure on a daily basis. For example, I learned that these women and girls are forced to have sex with at least 15 men a day. I learned if they don't make enough money, they're usually beaten so badly that they end up in the hospital. I learned about the story of this brave 17-year-old girl who told her 35-year-old pimp she couldn't do it anymore, and she was stabbed in the head with a screwdriver. In my head, I had to make these girls look a lot older. It was too hard for me to process that these girls are my age living in my city. And the fact of the matter is, when I saw this young girl walk into GEMS, it became very clear to me that these girls are just like us.
$5,000 will pay for one. $5,000 will pay for 1 year of most services for a girl at GEMS. It can help buy a building and give more girls and young women a safe and secretive place to stay so they are willing to leave their pimps sooner. Right now, their housing is limited, and most girls will have to wait or find housing elsewhere.
They would also like to run more education initiatives to teach young children about what sex trafficking is and why it is so prominent in our society, and to teach young boys to respect women at a young age. They would also like to do more legal advocacy work for girls who are stuck in the legal system. They actually just got 7 convictions overturned for one of their undocumented members of GEMS. They stopped her deportation proceedings, and they also just helped her get an immigration lawyer. They would also really like to hire more staff to make these girls feel more supported and loved when they're at GEMS.
At GEMS, $5,000 goes a long way. It gives each girl that shows up at their office more of a chance to go from a victim to a survivor.
When we were at the GEMS offices, they told us that these girls are always in need of clothing and other items that GEMS doesn't always have the money to offer them. So we decided to hold a clothing drive. We currently have about 35 items of clothing, and we're really excited to continue our drive in the following weeks. And we're also really excited to deliver the clothing to the offices at the end of the month. So we'd also like to get the GEMS outreach program to come to our school and schools around the city. So sex trafficking is so prominent, as I said before, in our society for a reason. It's because women are not respected and their bodies are seen more as objects. And as young people, we need to start having this conversation now if we want to be the generation that finally eradicates sex trafficking.
At GEMS, they believe that every girl is smart, resilient, and beautiful.
Remember Maria? She was 15, she loved basketball, and she was a victim of sex trafficking. Today, Maria is a survivor, she is a leader, and she is in her 2nd year of college.
Maria is one of the many girls who were empowered by GEMS. Thank you.
Does the 70% success, 30% failure apply to the program as a whole or to the alternatives to incarceration?
So basically, as I said before, it is so difficult for these victims of sex trafficking to leave their traffickers. And even though GEMS tries their hardest sometimes, some girls don't show up to the program. They're too stuck in the life that they're living. They think that their pimps love them. And so GEMS does what they can to show that these girls love and support, but sometimes it doesn't always work. Yeah.
But what does it apply to? Does it apply to all the clients they serve or those in this diversion program?
All the clients that they serve.
I think that was a great presentation, so congratulations to you guys. So I'm just wondering, it sounds like there's so many issues that they have to deal with in terms of if it's an alternative to incarceration, but then there's very little housing. There's it sounds like a year-long program. Do they give you any sense of what their success rate is in terms of, I guess, percentage of, you said 400 around and think in the program. Is there any sense of the success rate? What is the metric that they're using?
The method that they're using?
Well, I'm wondering if they're telling you 70 or 80% of the girls are actually leaving the sex trade and moving on in life. Did they give you a number like that, a percentage of?
No, they only gave us the 70% success rate for the 450 girls that they see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know where their money comes from? I mean, are they successful in fundraising?
Yes, they actually always hold like an annual gala like once per year to raise money, and all of those proceeds go directly to GEMS, and they also they use all of their fundraising money to go directly into what they do. Like they just got a bunch of funding to build a computer lab, so yeah.